Hi there. Today I want to talk to you about why a lot of people fail at B2B advertising and it does not deliver the results that we expect it to deliver. The fundamental reason for that, I believe, is a true lack of acknowledgement, not understanding, acknowledgement of the B2B buyer journey. We tend to think that the B2B buyers buy like B2C buyers or e-commerce buyers, which is not true at all. The way you buy a shampoo is very different from the way you buy a piece of project management software or hire a service provider, hire an accountant, hire a bookkeeper. Very different ways. In B2C e-commerce, there's a lot of impulse buying and a lot of it is dependent on physical availability. Whereas in B2B, there's a lot of things that need to happen before someone even gets into market and thinks about buying. By the time someone's in the market to buy, you're already very late. Most of us, when we run B2B advertising, essentially what we're doing is we are doing cold email book a meeting approach on media inventory. So if you look at the cold emails that you receive that ask you for a meeting, and then you compare them with ads that you receive on your feed, you'll see that there's no real difference between the two. Both of them are trying to do the same thing. It's just different channels, which is why it fails, right? And when you try and convert people through an ad, like the B2C or e-commerce people do, you're going after a very, very, very narrow chance of success. Jason Patterson, someone who I follow on LinkedIn, said this very beautifully. The odds of hitting the prospect when they're ready to buy in B2B advertising is like hitting a bullet with another bullet, right? It's so rare. And so there's, what are the reasons we expect that? One, because we don't really have a true understanding of the B2B buyer journey. And the other thing is attribution bias. Because in e-commerce, we've been trained that, hey, you can track stuff to your marketing efforts directly to revenue. So we try to do the same thing in B2B, which is simply not possible because it's not linear. The B2B buyer journey is not linear. Even B2C buyer journeys are not really linear, but they are even more so complex in B2B. So the other thing is that when we don't acknowledge the buyer's journey, we also don't acknowledge how people build their consideration sets in their head. So people have consideration sets in their head when they come out to buy, right? For example, let's say you're in the market to buy a CRM. As soon as I say the word CRM, you already are thinking of a few brands. So if you're in market to buy, who's going to be the top consideration? Obviously those two brands, Salesforce and HubSpot, right? Why? Because they've won the consideration set battle. So in B2B, your primary or the first objective through advertising is to get into a consideration set long before someone's thinking about buying, right? And there's actually a very interesting stat around that, or study around that, where Pep Laja from Winter, I was listening to his podcast and he mentioned that they conducted a survey at Winter and they found that most B2B SaaS CMOs, when they enter the market to buy something, they've already got 3 brands in their consideration set before talking to anyone, before talking to a sales rep. And that kind of tells you the importance of having communications way before someone's actually in market to buy. And most of our B2B advertising is just hammering the 3 or 5%, whatever it is, that is in market to buy. And that leads to another problem, which is high customer acquisition cost. So if you are going to play that game of going after the bottom 3% who is in market to buy, well, you better have a big enough advertising budget to actually make sense of it. Why? Because the whole market is going after those, right? And as a small B2B player, do you have the budget to bear the cost of acquisition payback period of 15 to 18 months? Because that's what it is. You can't spend $1,000 and get customers in B2B. You'll have to spend thousands of dollars before someone is actually going to come in to buy? And are you willing to bear that cost? That's the whole point. Most of us don't. We run a small amount of budget on paid media, and then we figure out, hey, look, this is not for us. This is stupid. Let's do something else, right? Whereas the point is, you had the wrong objective all along, or you didn't have the budget to match your objective, right? Because if you're copying a VC-backed company that's got a burn rate of $1 million a month, they can afford a cost of acquisition or CAC payback period of 30 months. You can't. You need it to work in 1 month, in 2 months, in 3 months, right? So that's another reason, but you have the wrong objectives with it. Now let's sum it up. What's the solution? Well, the solution is really simple. If you are doing B2B advertising, your goal should not be to get immediate leads. The goal is simple. The goal is to facilitate the buying journey before they're in the market. Be a part of the consideration set. Build awareness and build associations with your brand. So you need to talk to your target market and let them know that you exist and what do you exist to do. Make those associations, because when someone comes in market to buy, the first search engine is not a Meta or Google or LinkedIn. The first search engine where they will turn to is their head. And are you SEO optimized for their head? You're not. Actually, it was Dale Harrison, I reckon, who said brand marketing is SEO for your brain. And I think that was just simply brilliant, right? Because that's what we need to be doing with our B2B advertising. Instead of trying to push people into sales consults, our goal should be awareness and consideration and the right kinds of association, so that when they come into market to buy, we are the ones that think of. And I'll wrap this with an example. My first touch point I still remember with HubSpot was when I was doing a university assignment. I needed some form of an Excel template, and that's where I found HubSpot when I was in uni. So I went into their funnel. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a business, nothing. And I went into their funnel. They kept nurturing me. And naturally I graduated, blah, 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 became a professional, came into marketing, and started my own business. And whenever since then there has been times to recommend or think of a CRM, I've just naturally inclined towards HubSpot. I use HubSpot myself. I recommend HubSpot to my clients and everything. They entered my consideration set long before I was a B2B person, long before I was a customer, long before I had the potential to be a customer. And that's why they win. That's how brands win. And if you're interested in doing marketing, in doing advertising for your B2B that actually works, reach out and let's have a conversation. Have a good one.